By sharing sacred touch, you can transform your day and your life and the lives of people you care about. It's a great way to prepare for a busy day, and if your day was stressful, it's a perfect way to wind down afterwards, to feel a greater sense of ease and pleasure in your body, to quiet your busy mind, and to open your heart to the wonderful feeling of being cared for and caring for a variety of other people in your life, very directly and non-verbally.
And so I'm also aware that the culture right now is made this enormous shift toward virtual contact. You know, we're texting and we're emailing and we're on the cell phone and we're behind our computer screen. And there's not only not much face-to-face contact, but there's even less skin-to-skin contact in the culture than probably there's ever been in human history. And that concerns me. As you were saying, we need physical contact and physical touch to thrive. I really believe that.
Even many couples don't take time for TLC outside of their sexual activities, which are often hurried and unsatisfying for one or both partners.
It's one of the things that I value about touch is it takes me out of my verbal mind and it seems to help quiet my verbal mind. And so I have come to think of it as a kind of a natural meditation. And I think it's that is prompting me to want to put out the idea in the culture that maybe we could actually adopt touch as another form of yoga, as a practice that deliberately to quiet the mind, to relax the body, to center and to ground.
In Sacred Touch Yoga, you'll experience the value of taking turns, to just receive and then to just give sacred touch, to fully experience each role and to discover that both roles, giving and receiving, are rewarding, that giving to another is giving to oneself.
What I've experienced with touch, when I am really in my body and with someone, I feel that what I am giving, I'm giving to myself. I feel it in my body, as Christina was saying. I can imagine, or I'm experiencing their experience, and I'm getting the benefit, the same benefit I think that the other person is. And even if they aren't getting something different, for whatever reason, I know that I'm actually experiencing my own healing through me touching another.
Working with massage partners, it started to feel a kind of like an energy circuit, to find an analogy. When I first started massage, it seemed like I was getting a lot more from the receiving, but I think that was just sort of the healing process. But recently I've found that working on a person, and if they're receptive, then I find that the energy comes feeding back back into me, and there's this kind of crescendo of healing energy that seems to be building.
Been really influenced by Eckhart Tolle, and in fact, having done this touch work for so many years, when I read him a few years ago, it helped me get even clearer when I'm in a touch situation, either with a friend or a client, that really all I need to do is be present. That's really all it takes. And when I'm letting go of technique and trying to figure out where I'm going with the touch and just being in the moment, it feels, as you were saying, Corinne, like I'm getting as much benefit as whatever they may be getting, because it feels like I'm in a sacred space with myself. And I like to even think of it as a space of love with the other person. And we're sharing that. That's sometimes the best part of my day is when I'm working, because the kind of work I get to do is touching people, and I get so much from it. One of the ways I've conceptualized it is it feels like we move into this, the other person, I move into this kind of a space or a bubble of loving energy, and we're both in it. And it's not, even though I'm the one who's ostensibly doing and the other person's receiving, we're both in this bubble of energy that's nourishing me as much as it is the other person. So.
For me, my first encounter with sacred touch was quite powerful. It was quite a release. It felt like I had been seen for the first time in my entire life in a way that I never have, and it was intimate and it was truthful and very emotional, but just someone's fingers caressing my back and then them standing close to me. It felt like for the first time I was actually being looked at and seen. And it was, you can't quite explain it, but like it was just very, very powerful experience. that I'm very thankful for.
Our Sacred Touch logo symbolizes the original meaning of healing, which is holding the whole person. We see two hands holding a glowing orb. The word holding originally meant to keep, tend, or watch over, to contain, foster, or cherish. The glowing orb, which begins pulsing with life, represents the whole person. The word whole originally meant entire, unhurt, healthy, and comes from the same root as the words holy, sacred, and to heal. Compassion literally means to feel with. It is another aspect of holding the whole person. We can allow ourselves to see and hold not just their body, but actually to hold their heart and soul as well, honoring and accepting all of who they are, their pain, memories, emotions and struggles, their joys and sorrows, hopes and fears. And we can also open ourselves to being seen and held in that compassionate way.
The culture now are aware that we need to do cardiovascular exercise to keep ourselves, fit and healthy in terms of our physical heart. And from my reading of yoga, I understand that the heart chakra is kind of our compassion muscle. It's on an energy level. So I've been toying with the idea of sort of compassion fitness, exercising our capacity for being more compassionate.
When you do, after doing that workshop and doing Sacred Touch, out in the world, because everybody has an essence and everybody has vulnerabilities and everyone is beautiful essentially, right? And out in the world, you can imagine anybody, even someone who's acting like a nasty person or someone who is a nasty person, you see that, you'd imagine them in that environment and you can see that that person is just like everyone else too. They just have certain things guarded up, but they are valuable too, right? And it instantly strips people of their power to frustrate you and to like it's a very empowering feeling, and it's a very beautiful and like uniting thing.
Yeah, it teaches you compassion, really.
Exactly.
Right? Because I'm the same. I used to get so frustrated and think, why are people like that? And then I'd get mad, right? I have nothing to do with this person. And now you can think, wonder what's going on for them.
Rob Brezhny has written, "As tremendous a gift as it is to get love, giving love is an equal boon. Many scientific studies demonstrate that whenever you bestow blessings on other people, you bless yourself. Expressing practical compassion not only strengthens your immune system and bolsters your health, but also promotes self-esteem, enhances longevity, and stimulates tranquility and even euphoria."
With you, Kareem, and what I felt is like healing between sisters, or healing of, there's a lot of there's talk about bringing the masculine and the feminine into balance and into relationship. I think there's also something about the feminine coming into relationship with the feminine, and that there's a lot of wounding that has happened culturally between women, where women go behind each other's backs or whatever, and probably for the masculine as well. And what struck me when we were doing our partner work is how I felt a healing happen within me, within relationship with the feminine, and I just see how this work can just create so much healing, whether it's same gender or cross gender, or of course, in rippling out from that. But I wanted to acknowledge that, because I really felt that when I was with you. So, yeah.
Thank you for saying that. I felt that too. I really valued that you were here, and other women, and it was very powerful. I think one of the things I noticed about that activity with you, Christina, is that it was the one with touching the heart, putting a hand on the heart. I'm always struck by that. If I'm receiving a hand on the heart or a hand on the belly is a big one for me too, a huge trigger. I know I must store all kinds of emotional stuff in there, and it just brings me to the surface. It's always so powerful. So I'm glad I was able to feel that today and share it. Thank you.
Echoing what you said about how connecting with someone that you've never met before. When Corinne and I were holding each other, the level of emotion that I could feel was just incredible. And, I'd never met you before today, so just reminds me how powerful that is.
I read a book about 2 years ago. I think it's called The Connection Chemical. It was all about oxytocin. Not Oxycontin, which is that addictive drug, but oxytocin is the chemical that they used to think was only flooded through the system from a mother towards an infant during the bonding process when the child's first born. But now they realize that everybody produces this chemical, and what it does is it's called the cuddle chemical because it's the chemical that comes from touch. You also get it from singing, and it's very calming, and what it does is it equalizes other neurochemicals in your brain system, especially dopamine, which is the one that can cause addictive cycles, right? So there's actually scientific evidence, and to prove that there's touch. I mean, the right kind of touch, of course. I think it takes 15 minutes of being touched before the body starts to produce this chemical that calms the person and makes them more present.
I could say one thing is just a quick note that I've tried. I've done a fair amount of things, exploring myself and being, and it's like nothing else for me. It was the most direct and just the most raw in a good way. It was the most impactful, I think, thing that I've experienced so far. When we were at that workshop, it was the most sacred thing I've ever experienced in my life, and that, yeah, it's just surprisingly impactful and beautiful and wonderful.
If we invite someone, be with me, I'm bringing myself, I'm bringing all of me, and let us share. It's a sharing.
Before we started the group, when you had us do the hand on the neck and the back, just that was so powerful to get me here and grounded, because getting here and the day and all of the stuff going on through my head and all, so I was very aware of that. I love that circle, and it definitely felt like I was connected to everyone else too by doing that. So yeah, simple and powerful.
So many of the activities during the day seem to put up barriers between people, and I was just enjoying as the evening progressed how the barriers would slip away with each exercise. A few more barriers came down. It became easier to connect with people on a very basic level. Yeah.
I'm struck by how intimate we have been, and how quickly we dropped away from our own lives, our busyness, our who we were and what we do out there, and how we just simply very quickly ended up in the spirit, and then followed your instructions and very joyfully, like children at play, moved into something that was play, but was very, very intense and serious. And to me, that's the pathway to intimacy, because it depends, of course, on the individual. But for me, it felt really like I was letting go, surrendering to the moment, and feeling blissful and just really wonderful. Like I was in sacred space. And that to me is intimacy. And we fell into it very quickly, effortlessly.
In Sacred Touch Yoga, consciously breathing with one another is the single most powerful doorway to presence, relaxation, and connection with self and others.